Alright, this next one is totally outlined for you. It's a long problem, and then we'll do a couple at the end that are a little bit shorter, but they've taken this word problem and solved it with, I don't know, over a page of work, but that's okay. We'll work through it. In a real-world linear situation, you may have information that represents 2 points of a line. So we are going to definitely have to find 2 points on lines the vast majority of the time, right? And this is actually a key thing to solve most word problems. You can write an equation in point-slope form that represents. So if you have 2 points, you can write up an equation in point-slope forms and then solve the problem. An animal shelter asks all volunteers to take training sessions and then to volunteer 1 shift a week. All right. Each shift is the same number of hours. That's important. Table shows the number of hours Joan and her friend Miguel worked. So Joan and her friend Miguel worked over several weeks, knowing that the shifts are the same. All right. Another friend, Lily, plans to volunteer for 24 weeks over the next year. How many hours will Lily? So they're saying, hey, you know what? We work a certain number of weeks. Everyone works the same hours every week. So let's keep going. All right, I'm going to hold this until we get the information down. It says this: identify important information. Joan worked for, I'm reading it off that table, 6 weeks and 15 hours. Miguel worked for 10 weeks and 23 hours. Lila worked for, what did we say, 24 weeks? 24 weeks. All right. So what we want to do is we want to find some ordered pairs in there, right? Create and identify 2 ordered pairs to represent the situation. This is going to help us find the slope. I'm just going to write an M, the slope of the line. All right, write the equation in point-slope form. All right, so we're finding the slope, writing it in point-slope form. Substitute the, well, someone works, so it's a number of weeks. Lilia works for X and find Y. Well, if we plug in weeks, we're going to find the number of hours she worked. Well, that makes sense. All right. Let X represent the number of weeks worked and Y represent the number of hours worked. The points, well, we know these points up here. So we have a point of 6 and 15. Right? We have a point of 10 and 23 that we know are on the line. So that'll give us the slope. Well, let's do it. We got y's, right? 23 minus 15 are our y's. And our x's, 10 minus 6, which is going to give me, looks like 8 over 4, which gives me a slope of 2. Well, now we know everyone works 2 hours a week. We can already solve that, but let's go ahead and plug it in. All right. Choose one. Well, let's choose one of the points. Let's choose the smaller one. Let's choose 6, 15. All right. So we could say y minus 15 equals my slope 2x minus 6. All right. So what do we do? We substituted 2 for m and 6 for x and 15 for y. Or, well, we could choose the other point, right? What was our other point? 10, 23. Which would be, right, y minus 23 and x minus 10, the same slope of 2. This one we still went 10 for slope, but then we changed it out, right? We gave 10 for x, or 2 for slope, 10 for x and 23 for y. All right. Finally, substitute, well, what do we want? We want her number of hours, 24 weeks in. For x. So I'm going to just do one of them. The goal is that they're the same, but let's just do one. Alright, y minus 15, we're going to do this one right here, equals 2 times x minus 6. Right, that was substituting 2 for m, 6 for x, right, and then 15 for y. And then we're just going to plug in x value. We're going to plug in an x of 22. So y minus 15 equals 2 times, what do we say? Our x value is going to be 24. That's the number of weeks she works. So we plug that into x right here, 24 minus 6. So that was substituting 24 in for x, right? Which gives us y minus 15 equals 2 times 18. And we know this is 36, right? So if we add 15 to that, we would get, alright, y equals 51. Alright. So there we go. We got a y value of 51. And down here, that would be Lilia works 51 hours. And I'm going to go on to the next one because that's a lot to think through, especially if I do it 2 different ways. And there are 2 problems that will probably help us do this pretty quickly. Alright. Now, I'm going to come down here, and I realize I'm skipping this. That is okay. We'll talk more about point slope in class, but I want you to see it. Alright. So a gas station has a customer loyalty program. The graphs show the dollar amount and 2 members paid for with X gallons. Alright. Use an equation to represent find the amount it would to pay for 22 gallons. So I'm going to take 2 points. I'm going to take 510. There's 510. I'm going to take 1849. I'm going to get my slope, write in point slope form, and then plug in 22. So here we go. Let's get our slope. 49 minus 10 is our y's. 49 minus 10. 18 minus 5 is our x's. 18 minus 5, which gets me 39 over, oh, they made it nice, 13, which gives me a slope of 3. So I know my slope is 3, and I'm going to use this first point. Y minus 10, right? Y minus y1. Let's write it up here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Get used to it, know it. Equals my slope, and then x minus 5. And we're actually done. That's the equation right there. And now we'll plug in 22. So y minus 10 equals 3 times 22 minus 5. Y minus 10 equals 3 times, well, that looks like 17 to me. If I bring it up over here, y minus 10 equals, looks like 51, and y equals $61 for, what did we say, 22. So I could say 22 gallons cost $61. There we did, we used it. We found the slope, we put it in, we plugged in x. Let's do it one more time. So they're going to give us 2 points in here. Roller skating rink offers special rate for birthday parties. On the same day, a party for 10 skaters, so I know I have 10 skaters costs $107, and a party for 15 skaters, so 15 skaters costs $137. It wants to find out how many 12 skaters would cost, so we're going to write them all out. Well, I know these 2, so here's our slope. Slope equals y minus y, so what is that? 137 minus 107. It's going to turn out nice. And x minus x, 15 minus 10, which looks to be, what is that? 30 over 5, so it's cost $6 per skater. We're going to plug it in, even though I know you can figure out 6 per skater because there's probably a y-intercept somewhere in there. So we're going to say, I'm going to write it, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Let's use the smaller one. We'll use this one, 10. So y minus 107 equals, my slope is 6 times x minus 10, and now we're going to plug in 12. So y minus 107 equals 6 times this 12, 12 minus 10. Y minus 107 equals, what is that, 2 times 6, 12, and we add 107, y equals $119 for 12. Just a reasonable check. Is it in between these 2? My goodness, yes. And that is how you do it. We aren't done. We're going to talk. It's going to be okay. It's probably confusing the first time. We'll work together on a bunch in class. Talk to you guys soon.